This week on the Push Pull Legs podcast, we are joined by one of the UK's strongest men. He's a gym owner and an awesome coach, Mr. John Clark. 3, 2, 1, Strongman.
Hey guys, welcome to the Push Pull Legs podcast with myself, Dan Meek.
And me, Tom Hall.
We've got a special guest with us today, competing strongman, John Clark. Hello, John.
Hello both, how are we?
All good. This is so give an outline, list off your accolades over the last in Strongman over the last while. If anybody doesn't know who John Clark is, he's a fucking strong man. And he is my coach. We've mentioned him on the podcast a fair few times before. And we've had his coach on the last one, working with Lawrence Judd, Mr. John Clark. So say hello, John, mate.
Hello. What would you like to know about?
I think we're going to go through, so just to get to know you. If people don't know who you are, obviously what are they doing? And then we're going to see kind of what you've been doing in Strongman over your Strongman career, if that's all right.
Yeah, sounds good.
So in terms of what have you been doing kind of lately in Strongman?
In the world of Strongman, essentially trying to qualify to the elite level. So with the Strongman pathways, you've got two different routes to the top to try and get to World's Strongest Man, which is where we all want to be. Yeah. There's the UK Strength Council, which is the route I've been taking. So you do the Midlands qualifier, which I won, so I'm Midlands Strongest Man. Then you go to England's, which you then try and get on the top 5 to then get to UK's. Had a bit of a shocker at England's, missed out by a point, so came 6th. So I can say I'm the 6th strongest man in England, but it doesn't have the same buzz as the 1st strongest man in England. But it's progress. The last 2 years I've been to England, I got injured and didn't finish the competition. So it's 6 places higher than I've been previously. So it is progress. And then coming up, we've got the British Drug Free Final. I'm going over to Finland to compete in the Champions League Strongman event. And then this weekend coming up, I've got the European Deadlift Championships, which is also a qualifier to Giants Live. So yeah, fairly busy last 6 months and a fairly busy 8 weeks ahead.
Fucking hell, yeah, that seems so. What's that, about 5-6 competitions in the space of about 8 weeks, or?
Yeah, I've done 7 competitions in around about 12 weeks. So, and I've done 3 max deadlift competitions in that time as well.
Yes. So for people who haven't seen some of Clarky's deadlifting, it's probably your strongest thing. I think you'd agree.
Yeah, deadlifting or squats tend to be on.
Yeah, fucking hell. So if you want to, I mean, I've seen like the videos in our group and what he can like pull and what he can squat. So in your Midlands one, what was the record that you set?
I squatted 200 and I can't remember now. I hit 280 kilos. No, 260 kilos for 11 reps, I think it was. Yeah.
Anybody on the video looking at Dan's face? Cumulatively, Dan doesn't lift 280 kilos in once.
I'm probably most proud of the 300 kilos for 10 that I did 2 weeks previous.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the training video of that and I looked at it and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's, yeah. I mean, in terms of athlete-wise, I think we'll get into the diet and the strongman and the training, but it's just a staggering feat of strength anyway. You got to say, in deadlift-wise, you're pulling, what is it, 400?
Yeah, I pulled 400 for the first time about 2 months ago. Yeah. So that was a big milestone we all strongmen kind of aspire to.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, really. I mean, 2 years ago, there was only a handful of guys that can pull 400, and now there's probably 30 guys in the world that are pulling it. So the standard's growing all the time. You pull 400, pat yourself on the back, and then a few weeks later, Eddie Hall pulls 500 and makes you feel like a child again. So
yeah, let's just talk about that for a second. So big news in the fitness world. Even Dan can accolade to this that we watched. Eddie Hall pulling 500. What do we make of the chaps?
Yeah, but he had straps on, so.
I'll let you tell him that.
It's interesting. We had a chat about it was at the 3DMJ conference, actually. The guys on the Sunday, we had like a chat about things, and they were talking about a deadlift, actually. And I just made a point. I said, look, obviously if you're a powerlifter, you can't lift with straps in competitions and things like that. And you have to go with hook grips and stuff. And I was like, for anyone else, I was like, you have to get straps on. I was like, there's no point. Like, you're just doing yourself a disservice unless in the competition you have to have it. And like you say, in those things, you always hear those haters that go with the old, oh yeah, but. And I'm like, the guy just pulled 500 kilos off the floor and got it up to his hip. Like, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. He's done it.
It's ridiculous, and I have that same issue with a few of my clients. Like, they don't want to use straps, but if you want to improve your grip, there's far better exercises to use than the deadlift. So use the deadlift for what it's intended for if you're not using it as a competition tool, and train your grip separately rather than just thinking it's manly to do it without straps.
Yeah, and the thing is that you sacrifice so much progress by not. I mean, especially for myself as a physique athlete, like, just because I can't grip something, it's pointless not rowing or not deadlifting because you can't hold it, because no one's judging me particularly on my forearms or my grip strength. It's just a bit ludicrous. And the same with, like you say, PT clients. It does get a bit. It's almost bordering on a little bit dangerous if you go into those last couple of reps and you can't really grip it and your back's round it, and you'd be better off just holding it properly.
And the thing is, I've never really understood the argument against strongman using straps, because it's not like we're not testing our grip in other areas. Like, normally you'll have a grip event like a farmer's walk carrying 160 kilos in each hand. So it's not as if we're not being tested on our grip strength anyway. It's just that one particular event, they take the grip out of it because they know you're going to get the bigger numbers. At the end of the day, strongman's a circus show, isn't it? It's a freak show. You want to see the big weights. You want to see 500 kilos deadlifted off the floor like it's nothing, rather than 400 kilos just because that's what his grip allows. So.
It's interesting how you mentioned that, like I say, only a handful of people who had done it before, and now it seems to be that more people are doing it. I remember it's like that thing of almost it's believable, so therefore more people can do it. Half of the battle is that once that what's his name, Roger Bannister did the 4-minute mile. I think after that people just went and broke it, and it's that thing of almost believing. So maybe now, hopefully, it won't be too long until we see another 500 kilo deadlift. Probably somebody.
When I first got into strongman, 300 kilos was a really good deadlift. There weren't that many guys in the British kind of strongman comps that were pulling over 300 or in the low 300s, whereas now most intermediate level strongman are pulling 300. So yeah, it's frightening. It's almost that, as you say, it's that once the boundary's been broken and it's been proven you can do it, more people believe it and go on to achieve it. But no, it is frightening, the progression. I mean, 3 years ago, Europe's Strongest Man, they opened the deadlift at 400 kilos, and there were guys that were failing it, whereas this year they opened it at 400 and not a single athlete failed it. So, yeah, frightening.
That's fucking crazy. So I think, like, moving back, we'll get a little into the training aspect for it. So, yeah, over the last year, you've done, 5+ events in a very short amount of time. What would be, obviously for Dan's physique-wise, that's never going to happen, really, physique-wise. You're not going to be able to maintain that level of, whatever you aspire to, that level of shred. So it's the complete end of the spectrum. How can you maintain, essentially, your strength through that, 8 to 10 week period? How's the training been?
It's largely just about fatigue management and listening to your own body. I mean, when you start off with strongman, you're only competing once every 4 or 5 months, so you can kind of get a good idea of what your body's saying to you, whether you're overtraining, whether you're fatigued, whether you're feeling fresh, and then you just adjust your training as you go. I mean, at the minute, I'm working with Chet Vajaria around HRV, so we're looking at our heart rate in the morning, looking at what that tells us around my fatigue levels and recovery levels, and then we're adjusting our training load throughout the day based on what our heart HRV is telling us. So that's kind of a completely new technology that I've started to integrate from literally a week ago. So that's kind of how I'm managing my fatigue levels at the minute. But for most, without access to that technology, it's around just listening to your own body, training when you feel good and backing off when you feel like crap.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brad Loomis talks a lot about the auto-regulation stuff. I think that might come into it, you say, Dan? Maybe auto-regulation strength?
Yeah, I think especially, I think once you get to the level of, strongest man in terms of UK, England, like the level that John's at. I think a lot of it comes down to you kind of know your own body a little bit sometimes. And I guess with the heart rate variability stuff, it's just allowing you to have some kind of data, at least to have that. I think we've experienced it before as well. Sometimes when you've got a planned deload in, you feel great. And if you don't take that deload the week after, you feel like absolute garbage. And I guess that's where if you have that kind of data, you might be able to kind of preempt that. Well, this is when you should take a deload, even if you feel good. The data is kind of there. And I remember when I was in football, we looked at heart rate variability, and unfortunately, the players are too big time and pay too much money to care about it. But again, with those players that actually were interested in it, there seemed to be something there that we could kind of use. And then you go to someone and say, I think they should be rested, and the manager will tell you to fuck off. But either way, yep. I can see how it would be relevant, and I think it's a really useful way to kind of almost back up that auto-regulation if you're kind of going, well, actually, I feel a bit crap, or I've had a couple of hard days of training, and you've got the data. I'd be really interested to know how you get on with it, John. I think it sounds really interesting. Obviously, I know it's totally unrelated, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Is that I looked into, and I actually nearly bought just a standard heart rate monitor the other day, because obviously we track our cardio and we just use the machines. And I actually thought that getting a heart rate monitor might actually be a really useful way to try and get some extra data that we wouldn't be able to get normally. So things like testing your heart rate in the morning when you wake up, things like that. And obviously the heart rate variability is more to do with the waves and things like that within that. But I still think that, again, little things like if your heart rate's elevated in the morning on a day you really shouldn't be, it can just give you that little bit of data to kind of help make a decision, which I guess is what it does for you, right, John?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I use that with some of our clients, those that wear their Fitbits and things like that. A few of them have noted to me, like, say, if they've been out to a wedding at the weekend, drank far too much alcohol, they've realised that the heart rate's elevated for 2 or 3 days afterwards. So it shows the impact of things like alcohol, things of bad food, or doing things that aren't helping their goals. So it's good that you've then got that data to show them, rather than just saying, if you want to lose body fat, try and stay away from alcohol. But then when you actually see the physical data of increasing heart rate, fatigue and everything else that comes with it, then it demonstrates that point far more efficiently than we could. But no, I mean, the heart rate stuff's really interesting, and it's something I've only just started to get into. But during this time as well, we use RPE as a weight choice rather than percentages. So in the off season, we tend to use percentages for my main lift. So we'll go off 70, 80, 90%, whatever it might be. But during this phase, we're going off RPE. So say, for example, tonight I've got a deadlift, 3 reps at 9 RPE. My heart rate variability tells me this morning that I'm fairly recovered, I'm feeling good. So I can then base that number based on how I feel rather than having to hit a percentage. So that's a really good way of managing it as well, as you say, looking at RPE and using that as a score rather than just sticking to a percentage, because that's what science tells us in a way.
Yeah, I think with the auto-regulation thing, that's what we've kind of tended to drift towards a little bit, during the in-season, because just the fact is you look at a number on a sheet and you're like, fuck that, I'm meant to be hitting that for what? Yeah, and you're like, are you getting your own head? The psychology of it's not great. So I can see where that comes in, especially with Dan's sport, where the number actually, it just doesn't fucking matter. Which is fairly interesting. Obviously, the be-all and end-all of the strongman is numbers do matter, but obviously that'll be, I guess, like the kind of saying you build your body in the winter for Dan.
Yeah,
it's the same for you.
I think that's a large problem with strongman, is that you get a lot of people that are Facebook strong, and they'll pull a 350 deadlift on in their own gym on their own equipment using their own plates, and then 2 or 3 weeks later they'll fail a 330 deadlift. Because they've peaked for a video rather than peaking for the competition. I think we're all guilty of that when we start out, because we all want to show how strong we are and almost show the competition in advance what we're bringing in as a package.
Yeah.
And I think it's making sure that if you are going to compete in powerlifting or strongman or anything strength related, it's saving it for where it matters. You don't get any points in the competition for doing it in your gym. You get it on the platform in the competition arena. So I think that's a big lesson that a lot of our guys learn is leave the ego in the gym and hit it when it matters when you're on the platform.
Yeah, I think that's a big point. I've started thinking about that as well. So for competing in November, and then I went to a gym yesterday. Facility wise, not good at all. It was I had to use all the bumper plates to even attempt to deadlift. and it was quite interesting to
That's
see.
why I have my own gym, mate, so I don't have to
hang on, I just want to clarify something. That's not because you're strong.
That's not because I'm strong, no, because the plates, either the bar was really small or the plates were like that big.
CrossFit plates.
They were definitely like CrossFit plates. And I got some weird looks going, oh dear, yeah, he's lifting that. I was like, fucking hell, Jesus Christ.
Curl it or something. They just thought, no one deadlifts here.
It was really bad. But I started, training at all 4 of the third spaces as well. Just going around, cycling around, so I can get used to using different equipment, different bars, different stuff. Because, I think you get into your own head and just get very comfortable. I totally agree with that, man.
I mean, that's why I travel to Swindon once a month to train with Loz. That's why I travel to Tamworth to train with Dave Meir and those boys up there. Trying different equipment, different kit. Like the competition at the weekend is on Rebel Strength logs. It's on an AOA deadlift bar and it's using a Lyco plates. So out of those 3 things, all I've got are a Lyco plates. So
did they just throw shit at a dartboard and decide which brand to use? What they didn't want to keep.
Yeah, pretty much. So if you're not regularly using different equipment, then you're going to rock up on the day and you're going to fall short because you're not used to that certain type of log. So, and I think that's a mistake everyone makes. They get too comfortable training in their own environment with their own people, being told they're really good, and then they get into a big pond and then they realise they're only a little fish. So, the more you can travel, the more you can train with others, the better the athlete you can normally become.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think in the even in like the physique world, I guess, and that kind of, it's more based on looks, I guess. It's the same principle applies. The amount of times, like, I train at a Fitness First, and it's just bog standard shitty gym for now because it's close. But at the same time, there's a couple of guys there who are pretty lean. Like, you can tell they're all right. And apparently, according to Steve, trains a bit more than I do. He's like, they just always look like that. They always kind of come in a bit lean, but they kind of, like you say, they just like training that gym and be referred to as the guys that are quite lean. Whereas actually, you go to other gyms that are more physique based. You've got guys walking around there who aren't lean at all, but they're not in the competition. So they're happy to walk around with a little bit more body fat, train really hard and improve and gain some size. And so that when they come to their next competition, they've improved, not just kind of walking around all the time at a decent % body fat, thinking they're the big I am in the gym. They understand the process of actually needing off season and on season and how that works. And I think you're totally right. As I had my eyes open when I went to the gym Ministry of Fitness in Bristol, and that's again very much physique based. A lot of physique athletes, exactly the same thing is that the guys there that know their shit don't walk around checking themselves out, looking at everyone. They're there to work. They get the work done.
That's the complete opposite of you, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't like Fitness First, because those guys are already there. They've got their gym. I need to find my own.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem. I mean, like here, my biggest squat is 363 kilos. The next biggest squat in my gym is 240. So if I'm training with the guys here, then I'm thinking, oh yeah, my squat's really good. I'm doing really well. But then I go and train with Lauren Charlet, Europe's strongest man, and he's squatting 350 for triples. And I'm just like, no, I'm still shit. I still need to do a lot of work. So it's just, I prefer to be the weaker. It's like that whole, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I employ that with my training. If I'm the strongest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. So I need to try and train with people that are better than me, that I can learn from and that I can be pushed by. And likewise, I can push them. So, and I think that's a mistake a lot of people make with their training. They get too comfortable. But if you want to be an elite athlete, I guess that's what it takes.
Yeah, suck it up. So that was very interesting. In terms of facility, Dan sent me a text about just a few days ago, and about different facility-wise, and he was like, the level of retardation is inversely related to the amount of pay people for membership. I'm guessing that's related to obviously working at the third space for a couple of years, where the membership prices are very expensive, and going to Fitness First.
Yeah. Obviously, I worked at Third Space, and it was what? How is it there? It's ridiculous.
We're £150 a month, and then everything else is on top, really. So.
And I used to think that everyone trained there was dog shit. I was like, this is awful. I can't do this anymore. And walking to Fitness First, paying £45 a month, just still outrageous for what they have on offer there. And it is just literally like you just there like that the whole time, just like head in your hands, like what am I doing here? But I mean, I'm lucky that I get to train with Steve, so we're okay because it's kind of like we push each other, and that's why we're there. But we're the only ones in there with a training diary, with a notepad, with any kind of like plan. It's just bonkers. It really is.
That's what I felt like yesterday because I went in with my mini bands, and I was doing just some like anterior fucking scapular work, and I was just
it's funny,
God.
You know, it's funny because we obviously Ministry of Fitness is the one that we want to train at, but it's a bit of a drive away. We've got double sessions some days because of cardio and whatever. So in our off season, we'll definitely go in there and we'll definitely be in that environment that's better for training. But I do think that training environment makes a world of difference. Like even at the third space, like it was one of those where even when we were training, we got a little bit like you had to be training with a trainer and you had to kind of push each other, and people didn't really like it, maybe whatever, but you feel like it is definitely about the environment 100%. And I guess that leads nice on to the next question I want to pose to you, John, is obviously now being a facility owner, is the training environment that you've created. Obviously I'm lucky enough to have been there and gave a seminar to your members and stuff like that. Is that one of the reasons you went down that route, was because you wanted to create that environment or community feel?
It was a real mixture of reasons, to be honest. Firstly,
for people looking at video, John is at his facility right now, so you can go check that out. And let's hear. We can plug it right here, John.
Yeah, welcome to Fit 360. No, I mean, primarily I wanted to create an environment where selfishly I could become a better athlete. Having access to Alico plates, watt bikes, and all those kind of things, I wanted to create a better caliber of facility that I could train in, that I could be getting better in. My personal training business, training out of somebody else's facility, had grown to maximum numbers. I was hitting 55, 60 hours a week of one-to-one training. So for me, I'd maxed out in terms of how many people I could try and help per week, per month, per year. The facility I was in was only quite a small one. There wasn't any room to grow down a semi-private model or a group model because of other trainers in the gym that were using the space. So it just became a numbers game in the end. And it was, if I want to grow to help more people, build a facility that I can train in, and also earn more money, which seems to be a swear word in the fitness industry. Like, you can't be in it to earn money, but you can only be in it to help people. But they're both related to each other, in my opinion. So we saved, managed to raise enough funding, found a facility, got the change of use, opened on a very small budget. It took us about 17k to open, and then I've spent another 30,000 odd since we've been open on upgrading the facilities, more equipment, more facilities, more weights, watt bikes, Alico bars, all that kind of thing. And then the community aspect of it has been a massive part of what I wanted to create, an environment that didn't have any dickheads, people that supported each other, but people that had common goal. And I say to a lot of our new starters, it doesn't matter what the goal is, and as cheesy as it sounds, we're just looking for people that want to be better today than they were yesterday. So as long as they're prepared to work, to improve, to commit to being better with their fitness, their health, their strength, their performance, whatever it is, then they'll be welcome here. And that's kind of the environment that we've created. And I hate the word community, because I think CrossFit have managed to stamp all over it as a word. Because community can be very cliquey and very unwelcoming and very, unless you're cool and trained topless and can do a muscle up, you're not welcome. Not that I have anything against CrossFit, might I add.
This seems to become a feature on every single guest.
Now we've got members from 18-year-olds aspiring elite athletes through to 70-year-olds that are trying to control their diabetes and support their own health and wellness, and they're training alongside each other. Like, I had a 18-year-old high-performance footballer in yesterday training with one of our 55-year-old women, and they were chatting away, pushing each other, supporting each other, and clapping each other on the ski erg. So that environment's really important. And like you say, if you're in a crap environment to train, your motivation goes, your ability to want to train disappears, and you don't get the result that you want anyway. That was kind of the motivation, then what's led us to where we are now.
Strong, mate, very strong. So with so obviously you did your PT, built up through that, and then what's happening with the online stuff as well? Because obviously I'm online coached by you. You still affirming with that, or is there still stuff that's going on around the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, Because Fit 360 has grown as a brand. I mean, essentially, originally, the bending barbell was a concept of education and seminars that I was working on with Rich Senewald. He's obviously gone on to his own projects now that he's moved into different realms of employment, shall we say. So now he's focusing on that. The bending barbell's become more of an online training company for people like yourself, so people that want to get stronger, that people that need support, guidance, help. And we've applied the principles that we had at Fit 360 to the bending barbell online training community. So building a community, a place where people can support each other, help each other, share struggles, but also share failures. I mean, you'll probably have noticed in the group people that are posting failed lifts or stuff they might be struggling with, and other people can give them a kick up the arse and share their own journey with them as well. So, the online stuff's going really well. We've now taken on another couple of coaches to help with that as well. It's just continuing to grow that and support those that are part of it.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that, I've taken away from that group, and since we've been doing it push-pull wise, is the fact that people aren't scared to fail in front of people in that group or in a closed community. But because I always get the feeling that obviously this is probably more toward the online world of PT now, that nobody ever looks like they're doing badly, which is far from the fucking truth, because there's at least one session every week I think is dog shit. There's at least a couple of clients that I have every week where I'm like, fuck, what have I just done? Hopefully they won't be injured. I know Dan's gone and shot at me before. Like, he was like, why the fuck did I push that guy overhead? Or it's like, I'm really annoyed with myself to do that. But you're never going to post that online. You're never going to post... I mean, arrogance is like, look at all the guys that I've done really well at. I'm never going to show the ones I fucked up. But I think
like, Facebook is a highlight reel, isn't it? Everyone shows the biggest highlights, whether it's their personal life, their competition life, their business life. And I know a couple of business owners that own their own gyms that if you looked at their social media, you'd think everything was sunshines and rainbows and everything was going well. But speaking to them, I know that they are struggling. So a pinch of salt, you see on Facebook with a pinch of salt. And I think that's the problem is without going too deep, as humans, we love to compare ourselves to others, don't we? So you'll see someone else doing a lift that you think you should be able to do, but you're not there yet. So, mate, I've
never done that with you in that group, because I'm by far the weakest in there. So,
yourself a disservice. You're stronger than you think you are. But I think that's the problem, isn't it? And that's why I like to create a group like that, because no one, like, if you're squatting 100 kilos, you're going to get just as much congratulations and support as I would for hitting an 800-pound squat. And I think that's an important thing that. Again, similar to here, it doesn't matter what point your journey that you're on. You could just be starting out. It's just, as long as you want to get a bit better, then we can help you to do that.
Strongman, should we delve into the diet side of things? Because I think in the past, Dan, you have done John's nutrition, just much like you're doing my nutrition, and we are both kind of clients of yours, which is very odd.
I guess it's one of those things. I guess it's one of those things where a lot of the time in nutrition, like, we're quite honest and open about the online nutrition and stuff like that, and it's the same with training. Is that most people know what to do, they just don't do it. And you need someone that's going to give you a rock up the arse and tell you, well, why have you not done this or why have you done that? And ultimately, all you need is someone to be accountable to. I could do my own prep, but I'd make awful decisions. It's one of those things where you could do it all yourself. And like you say, I remember, you two are actually polar opposites. Like, I remember when I first started working with John, it was only for a couple of months. It was just to make sure everything was all right. And basically, for a big guy who was very strong, training a lot, John didn't eat any food, basically, and it just came down to a time issue more than anything, and maybe just a routine thing that you just get into your routine and you just kind of get used to what you've always done, and you just assume that everything's going to be okay off that. And likewise, I guess with you, it's the same as you get into the habit of just eating whatever the fuck you want, and you get, you put on a bit of weight, and it's simple, and it's. But again, I think the most common thing with a lot of people in the industry, and that's why I like working with people who are in the industry more so than like the people I've worked with in the past, is that they get it because they know that what they're doing is wrong and they're happy to accept that and they're willing to change. Whereas I've worked with clients in the past that have said, no, I can't do that. I'm like, well, or you won't do it. And they're like, no, I can't do it. And it's not that they can't, it's usually that they won't. And at least when people in the industry go, right, I need a bit of help with this, they're willing to accept that what they've done is slightly wrong or they need help with, which is always useful. So on the one hand, you've got you who needs to come down a weight class so that you're stronger, in theory. You need to lose a bit of weight, whereas likewise, there's some people in open classes like John who maybe needs to recover a bit better and eat more food. And I'd like to think that now he's probably in a position where he thinks more constantly about eating more food, probably because he's training harder, training more often, things like that. So it's sometimes it's just a case of you already kind of know what you're doing wrong. Like Tom, eating a whole bag of 12 bites of an evening with a boost and a pizza isn't really going to help you all that much in losing a bit of weight.
But then my deadlift session the next day will be fucking phenomenal. So
it better be. You'll like feel. Yeah. But yeah, it's that same old thing. And like you said, John, is I think sometimes physique athletes are as guilty as anyone about that showing the highlight reel on Facebook thing. Is that ultimately some people don't show their dark days or their bad days. And I got not called out on it, but someone messaged me the other day and was like, "Oh, you posting all these pancakes and stuff like that." And I'm like,
I know that because
I
told the person to do it.
Yeah, I was like, did you read the recipe? I was like, it's just egg whites, banana, and whey protein. Like, do you think I'm scoffing like Scotch pancakes and maple syrup on? I was like, But again, the same thing came out of like, well, you can't eat that every day all day. And it's like, well, no, maybe I should post more of the salads that I eat because I do have to eat the salad every so often. Like, I'm not just sitting there munching on pancakes. And there is also an element of
it's relating to people, though, isn't it? People see clean eating and they see you doing it religiously 24/7, never having a day off it. They can't relate to it. They think it's impossible. I mean, one of the biggest blog posts that I ever posted in terms of like social media reach was me deadlifting some like 220 kilos for 5 because I'd just come back from a 3-month injury layoff. And not many people that with a 300 at the time, like a 350 kilo deadlift, would put a video of them deadlifting that amount and making it look fucking hard. But it was to make the point that we don't live in this constant state of high performance and high ability. There are times where we have dark days, we don't train well, we have to start at the bottom again. But I think going back to your earlier point with the nutrition stuff, I mean, in the fitness industry, I think we're all guilty of it, that we put our clients ahead of ourselves. The better coaches tend to do that anyway. And that's not a bad thing, but it's my own program, my own nutrition goes to the bottom of the queue because my other clients pay me money to look after them. So I think that's why hiring a coach, a nutritionist and everything else, I'd say the majority of my online coaches are actual personal trainers. My online clients are personal trainers because they just need that accountability and to be able to go into a gym and not have to think about it, rather than having to sit there going, oh, could I do that, or I could do that, or I read this article the other day about high volume training, so should I now start that? And I think having that ability to just go, right, there's your plan, get on with it, stop dicking around, is massive for most of us in the industry.
Yeah.
So that's why we like to say all us three here have got coaches, so it tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's actually say, so what do you eat? What do you eat, John?
Food. A lot more than when I first met Dan. At the minute, I'm on around kind of 4,000 calories a day, which, I mean, the thing is with the Strongman world, a lot of guys would like you to believe that they're all on these 10,000 calorie diets a day and they're all just eating and gorging on food. Now, don't get me wrong, the likes of Eddie Hall, who weighs 185 kilos, he is eating 10,000 calories a day. But for me, I'm 145 to 150 kilos, depending what time of the week you weigh me. So for me, I'm only on around 4,000 to 4,500 calories a day. So for me, like yesterday, I had 8 egg omelette with some bagels, spinach, mushrooms, onions. I had a massive salad with 3 chicken breasts, 2 Mascana shakes, a protein shake after I trained, and then a Thai green curry for dinner. So it's not a huge amount of food, but it's still 4,000 calories. It's still kind of about 300 grams of protein a day. So, yeah, I get through a fair amount of food, but I try and bulk it into 3 big meals rather than trying to destroy myself throughout the day with it.
See, this is what I'm talking about, Dan. So I could easily eat 4,000 and I wouldn't need bat an eyelid, mate. And that's what happens. It's just cinnamon buns and having a constant kind of stream from the Nordic bakery. It was my downfall.
Yeah. Problem is, Tom, you're nearly half John's body weight.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So
The problem, if you stay at the body weight you are, you've got to compete against other people stronger than you.
Yeah, I know. That's I got to come down, annoyingly.
Yeah. Don't worry, mate. It's fine.
I'm almost there.
When I started, I was only 110 kilos. So there was a big debate at the time as to whether I became a 105 competitor or an open weight competitor. So I'm glad that I decided to be an open weight competitor.
Then you dieted for 2 weeks and thought, nah, I'll just go.
Shit.
I was like, I wonder how I could get to 105. Tried it for a week. I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to eat.
All right, strong guys. So shall we cap there and go to a break? And then on the other side of that, with a little less training talk, a little bit less fitness, nutrition that gets boring after a while, right? So we actually have real lives outside of this. So we'll have a little break, and then we'll... No, apparently not. Well, you two are both dads, so this will be very interesting. All right, we'll see you on the other side. Push-Pull Legs online coaching is open. Contact us at info@pushpulllegs.co.uk.